Mario and Luigi Brothership is a wonderful game that brought a cherished series back from the grave. Of course, many were pretty mixed on it and didn't like the game a lot, but most people, including myself, found it to be a very enjoyable experience. I absolutely loved the new fun gameplay mechanics, characters, collectibles, and gimmicks that it introduced. But as someone who has played all of the other games from the series multiple times, there are some things from previous titles that I wish Brothership brought back. So today I decided to make a video talking about them and how they could have made the game better. And also, I'll be including some of the things you wanted to come back that you mentioned in the comments. The first part of the video will be about the things I wanted, and the second will be about yours. So yeah, let's start. The first thing that I wished the game had ever since my first playthrough was the bonus points roulette. You select the stat you want to upgrade and you try to time your button press to get the amount of points you want. It was a small, fun, balanced mechanic in previous games that made leveling up feel rewarding, and it kinda allowed you to customize the game's difficulty. So seeing this feature missing from the game was quite disappointing. The first and only game in the series that removed it was Paper Jam, and I really don't know why they did the same for Brothership. Like, why did you remove something that has been a staple from the beginning of the series that has always made leveling up feel significant? I mean, yeah, we do have ranks where you choose a bonus you want whenever you reach a specific level, like for example having an extra gear slot, and among those bonuses you can choose the option to increase a specific stat by 1 point every time you level up. But personally, I don't really like this system. I don't know man, the bonus points always drove me to battle enemies more, so them being missing kinda made leveling up less satisfying. They could have easily just added the bonus points roulette alongside the ranks without any issue, just like in Dream Team. There's literally nothing wrong with having both. You didn't have to retire, my boy liked you. The next thing I wanted to return in Brothership is actually something from the Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga 3DS remake. Now obviously, this game is basically just the original but with better visuals and a side mode that everyone pretends like it never happened and never existed, but also with a new collectible, music tapes. You automatically unlock music tracks from the game that you can listen to in the music player more and more as you progress in the main story and the side mode, but there's also the original music tracks from the GBA version that can be unlocked by obtaining their music tapes, which can be found in different areas in the Bean Kingdom inside question mark blocks. I'm someone who really likes having different types of collectibles in a game that each serve a unique purpose. Having music tapes in Brothership that you need to explore or solve puzzles to obtain would have been something pretty fun and cool in my opinion. There's plenty of things to collect in Brothership of course, like the spite bulbs that let you create battle plugs and those weird grampy turnips that lecture you about life, but I personally think that they're kinda too simple and easy to find. And speaking of music, it would have been really awesome to hear remixes of songs from previous titles. There's like legitimately a lot of really cool songs that deserve to be remixed. The fact that Brothership is the game that revived the series yet it doesn't have any well-known songs from other games is kinda upsetting to be honest. Okay, so hear me out on this one. Many of you are probably going to find this one a bit questionable, but I really, and I mean really wish Brothership brought back gimmicky boss battles. The reason why I think they should have been included in Brothership is because having totally unique boss fights would have increased the number of bosses, which the game doesn't have that many of, and made battles feel less repetitive since it takes forever to unlock a new bros attack. I'm not a huge fan of the gimmicky battles, but I like how the games shake things up a bit and not just have regular bosses with some small gimmick thrown in as a cherry on top. Brothership would have definitely benefited from them and made the gameplay more fun with more variety if they added bosses like these. Maybe, for example, you fight against giant bosses or pirate ships using Ship Shape Island to gain access to the next sea, and the battles would function similarly to how they did in Dream Team since that's the one that did it best in my opinion. You try to figure out which attacks you should use to lower the boss's defense and deal as much damage as you possibly can and dodge whatever attacks they throw at you. Or maybe have more dynamic fights where Luigi controls Shipshape Island to avoid the attacks and the hazards in the sea, while Mario uses cannons and special attacks to deal damage. And the boss has multiple phases and gets stronger and faster after each phase. I feel like Shipshape Island had a lot of potential to be used as a ship for battles. Like, come on man, this is literally a pirate game with Mario and Luigi slapped into it, so why not have a battleship? If there's one thing that me, as well as many others, wanted or expected to see in the game after watching the trailer for the first time, that would be bros moves. In Superstar Saga, every time the bros learn a new move they could use in the overworld for puzzles and platforming, they also use it for fighting by changing and refining a few things about it to make it useful in battle. I would have absolutely loved having attacks like these and not just items, simply because it would make fighting enemies and bosses a bit more interesting. I don't necessarily hate bros attacks being items, but having a lot more variety in your attack options would make battles more fun. The main reason why I think having them would have made the game better is of course the pacing. Like I said earlier when talking about the gimmicky boss battles, it takes, again, forever to unlock a new bros attack, which is why fighting enemies kinda feels repetitive at the first half of the game, and that's why I think adding them would have made the pacing slightly less worse, even including the advanced system where after some time Mario and Luigi learned how to make a move better and stronger would have made things 10 times better, or hell, maybe mix a bros move with another bros move to make a new more powerful bros attack. Don't know where's the problem in having more variety. It's kinda weird that Superstar Saga is the only game in the series to ever have this type of bros attacks. Ever since Partners in Time introduced the item system, the bros move system never saw the light of day in another game, which I personally think that it's pretty disappointing since a lot of fans have been wishing for it to come back. Okay, so here's another questionable thing I wanted in the game, a Bowser Jr. side mode. Yeah. Look, I know the side modes from the remakes aren't that good, but a story that is basically happening in the same place and at the same time as the main game that is just from a different POV is a pretty cool idea. And it's really interesting to watch the characters develop over time and see how much they've grown in the end, especially Bowser Jr. He is just an annoying spoiled kid that causes troubles, but then he starts to become a leader just like his father and more mature as you progress in the story, and I just love it. In Brothership, however, even though he was a pretty interesting character whenever he was shown on screen, the game didn't capitalize on that. And we don't get to see the events that led up to what we see in the story. How him, his dad, and their minions first got into Concordia, how they were able to convince the residents of an island that they're good guys and that Mario and Luigi are two evil cuckoo crazy dudes, and most importantly, his relationship with Buddy. What a very creative name. And that's why I think a side mode would have been an amazing addition to the game. Maybe Bowser Jr. was alone when he got into Concordia just like Mario at the start of the game, so then he decides to search for his dad and the others, and as he goes from island to island using a ship, he finds treasures, recruits minions to join him, and collects information related to his father to find him. And since the game is about bonds, Bowser Jr. learns about friendships, how it feels to have real friends and how to treat them right. Really interesting plot, I know. And hey, maybe even reveal some hidden lore like the previous two side modes did, because why not? As for the gameplay, they can keep it as it was in previous side modes. I just wanted to require more action from the player in some way and not just make them watch, and include some exploration as well. They could have easily cut all the unnecessary stuff from the main game and made it about 20 hours long, and have a side mode that's about 15 hours long. Before we move on to our comments, there's one last thing I would have loved to see return in the game that I want to talk about, and that's the badge effects. I know that the battle plugs serve as a replacement for the badges, but I'm sorry, I just don't really like them. Don't get me wrong, they are really useful and the fact that you can experiment with them by combining one with another is pretty cool, but I just feel like they aren't balanced enough. They almost kill the game's difficulty with how many overpowered plugs you can use. Like goodness gracious, there's a plug that makes dodging and counterattacks easier, a plug for 1-ups and berries, mushrooms and herbs that automatically use these items whenever you need them without wasting your turn, and there's even a plug that literally does the bros attacks for you, and you can use multiple plugs at the same time and multiple times. On top of that, they require no effort, and after they run out from uses, you just gotta wait for them to recharge. Now you might be thinking, doesn't giving them a limited amount of uses balance them out? No, because 1, you can use other broken plugs while the others are recharging, and 2, there's like 3 battle plugs that makes them recharge faster. Comparing them to the badges from previous games, the badges were a lot more balanced and fun in my opinion. Mario's badge is the effect you want, while Luigi's badge is how good the action command must be to fill up the badge meter. Good, great or excellent. which also determines how strong the effect would be. This was an amazing useful mechanic that requires the player's skills to be beneficial, while also not giving too much power so that the challenge the player faces doesn't become too easy, and that's why I think it would have been better to have them instead. And now we can finally take a look at your comments and the things you wanted in Brothership. Yay! Gator1-N7HK wished that there was an equivalent to the challenge nod and says that a game feels incomplete without them. If you don't know, the challenge nod is an area in Bowser's Inside Story where you fight harder versions of the normal bosses as well as a secret boss and complete various unique challenges using bros attacks. This is something many of you mentioned and I completely agree with you. Having an arena where you can fight harder versions of the bosses you previously fought against was a pretty cool optional challenge you could take if you want to. Even Dream Team and Paper Jam had their own versions of the challenge nod, so why didn't they include it in Brothership? I mean, you can fight Gloam versions of the bosses from the lighthouses as side quests, and then you fight a Gloam version of Gorambala near the end of the game, but like, you can only fight them once and it's not even the full list of bosses. Why the hell add stronger versions of only a few bosses and not add an arena or something where the player can fight them whenever they want and how many times they want? And as for the Bros Attacks challenges, yeah, those would have been something really fun to have in the game. I actually completed the ones from Bowser's Inside Story and got the highest ranks for each one about a month ago for the first time ever, and I was definitely not struggling. I attempted to do the same for the other two games and I just gave up. They are really challenging. I really liked how a few of them added a unique challenge to the bros attack, like a timer for example, which made them more interesting, and the fact that you get a reward for getting a rank is really cool, so it's really disappointing that we didn't get something similar in Brothership. That Luigi Brothership render, nice name, also wish that there was boss rematches but also a hard mode. Y'all really like an option for suffering. Although Mario & Luigi Brothership is kind of a hard game, I do agree that there should have been a hard mode just like in Dream Team after you beat the game. It would have been a difficult yet fun challenge that would make a second playthrough of the game a bit more fun. I would have really loved to have a hard mode that of course increases the stats of bosses and enemies, but also nerf battle plugs because of the reasons I talked about earlier. Rapture Mo says, what I thought was the final boss, referring to Zocket, had the normal boss theme which got me confused. I wish there were more original themes for certain bosses. I absolutely agree with this one. I also had the same experience when I played the game for the first time. When I got into the battle with Zocket, I also got confused until I realized, hey, so this isn't the final boss? It's kind of strange that this game doesn't have the unique themes for specific bosses like the other games. The unique songs weren't just something cool the games gave to bosses, they were something very important that helped setting up a certain atmosphere and mood for the bosses that were significant in the story, which made those boss battles very memorable, like Popple from Superstar Saga, Bowser and his baby version from Partners in Time, and Phantasma in Dream Team. There's quite a few bosses in Brothership that deserve to have unique themes, like Bowser in this Gloam version, the Extinction Corps, and of course Zocket. Lorenzo Antonio 3606 really wanted the game to have a Wilgar fight, and I absolutely agree with my man here. The Wilgar fights weren't special or memorable in the series, but still man, they were pretty fun. So why no Wilgar boss? Zero Door YT wished the elite trio from Bowser's Inside Story and Dream Team made a comeback in Brothership and says that they deserve at least some sort of appearance, while also adding that they would fit with the game's message about bonds. This is a very valid wish, to be honest. Many past characters that would have been an awesome inclusion never made it to the game. Actually, now that I think about it, literally not a single past character made an appearance except for Starlo. I have a question. Mr. Acquire. Why does she get the chance to live in another title while others get executed? Where's Dr. Toadley, Brock Monsieur, Prince Peasley, Kylie Koopa, and where's my guy Toadsworth? Did they kill him in this series too? It's really weird to not see these characters because they are a part of this series' identity, especially the Elite Trio. They are some of Bowser's highest ranked minions, so it doesn't make sense for them to be missing from the game. You're telling me that Bowser's whole army was sucked up into this new world, except for the Elite Trio? I'm not buying this. Although they are just some normal minions, they have a very funny personality and some very cool designs that makes them stand out from the others. Plus, like the comment said, they would have been perfect for the game's stories about bonds since these guys are inseparable. I think that maybe they didn't include them because the extension corps do kind of have a similar dynamic, and while I do love these guys, I would rather have the elite trio in the game instead of the extension corps. And that's all I got for this video. I've really been wanting to make a video about Brothership for quite some time now, so I'm glad that I finally made one related to the game. Despite its flaws and pacing, it's obviously still a fun game in the series. It's certainly not the best since that title still belongs to Bowser's Inside Story of course, but it still did a lot of great things. I had a lot of fun making this video, especially because I loved reading your comments and talking about them, so yeah. One last thing before I go, a special thanks to Speederlight for being a channel member and the first one ever at that, really appreciate it. But anyways, have a good day everyone.